I'm going to start with a little bit of a chapter I did early on in this. I wanted to see if the Great American Drive-In still existed, and it does, but in very small increments. At the beginning of 2001, I planned this whole trip out, driving from Chicago all the way to Los Angeles and stopping every night to see a drive-in theater. Well, in the time I'd done that, like 2/3 of them had closed. So I was reduced to flying to Los Angeles and driving out to Gallup, New Mexico, and visiting a couple of places along the way. But I had a great time, and I would like to relate a little bit of it to you. This was week 31. The book is divided up into weeks. I sort of themed each week and did 52 chapters for the 52 weeks of the year. Somehow I ended up with 53 chapters. It's because I gained a day back when I came back from Australia. I think that's what it is. So this is entitled Kicks Just Keep Getting Harder to Find, The Desert, the Truck Stop, and the Ill-Fated Drive-In Tour of Route 66. After several hours of patient, reflective listening, while driving through the brutal pans and stunning canyons of America's great southwestern deserts, I have come to the certitude that Neil Young in full voice sounds little different from a cat having sex. It's true! Camped out at a.k.a. outside of Barstow, California, I sat dripping in my swimsuit, trying to stave off the evening heat with several bottles of Pacifico Claro. And as the sun set and the moon rose, I found myself listening over and over again to Neil Young's Decade album. Not long before bedtime, as Neil reached the vocal and orchestral peaks of A Man Needs a Maid, a pair of cats in the adjacent trailer park reached heights of the feline freak dance and began that low, ghostly wail that cats emit at such times. It became a harmony for the chorus. We all know the chorus of the song. Oh, man needs a maid. The cat's part fit perfectly, or as perfectly as Stephen Stills ever did with Neil, although it added a different inflection, so it sounded like the cat was pronouncing the surname Bauer over the course of several minutes. Suddenly, as Neil sang and the cats added their two-part orgasmic harmony, the severe face of 2000 Republican presidential candidate Gary Bauer floated before my eyes. It hovered there as Neil and his cats wailed and the sweat dripped down my face and my beer bottle and the hot wind caked sand on my sweaty neck. The desert does this to you. The heat exhausts your body, taunts your mind, evokes visions. True, I'd rather have a vision other than the disembodied head of Gary Bauer hovering over my beer while Neil Young harmonized with a pair of bopping cats, but you take what you can get out here. Oddly enough, it became the object lesson I needed to endure my 5-day, 1,500-mile round trip from Los Angeles to Gallup, New Mexico and back again. See, I came all this way to commence a drive-in tour of the legendary Route 66. I'd been conjuring this idea since the early winter of last year. I needed to see drive-ins, which have become nostalgic remnants of a time when Americans did things together. So I would seek the mother road, the highway of legend and song, and follow its length in a classic convertible. Yes, a real dandy 57 T-Bird or a 67 Vet convertible, silver with red leather, seats protected by Navajo blankets. I saw myself blasting through the borax flats, worming through the switchbacks, cooking fresh buffalo meat on mesquite fires by the roadside, then watching classic movies in perfectly restored drive-ins surrounded by other classic cars. And there would be women, oh yes, lovely women, all tanned and of various ethnic origins, who would wave at me and speak flatteringly of my car, but it would all be benign admiration as they sensed the power of my marriage and found me to be more of a great spiritual grace than an object of flirtation. I would sit in silent meditation as the sun rose over the buttes, and I would make peace with a band of restless coyotes hungry for some angry cattleman's stock. Then as I barreled westward in the dark, hitting 100 with the headlights off and only the full moon to illuminate my way, the highway would open up and betray its secrets, and within me a brilliant fire would ignite as I attained a profound awareness, a beatific, road-worn satori, like something out of Allen Ginsberg's Wichita Vortex Sutra. Well, none of these things happened, not a single damn one. I did get hot, though, and sunburned, and I did get a beer buzz or two at the end of the day, and I did go to drive-ins. But the one thing I learned, which perhaps moved the Sisyphusian boulder that is my soul closer to the mountain of wisdom, is that a journey changes even before you embark on it, and the only way to have a successful journey is to embrace everything that is unexpected. Between the time I started planning and the time I left, plenty had changed. Almost half the outdoor theaters on my route from Chicago to LA had closed, part of the continuing wave of drive-in closings across the country. The amount of time I could spend was limited to a week or less, so that scotched the notion of a round trip. The dream of driving a vintage car 3,000 miles dissolved like a laugh at a bad joke, and I was left with this reality as July ended. A flight to LAX, a rented 2001 Ford Mustang from Hertz, a trip to Gallup and back again, and maybe 2 or 3 drive-ins along the way. I got out of Los Angeles as fast as I could. The city was airless and brown. An inversion layer had enveloped everything from the coast to the Santa Ana Mountains and beyond in a shroud of manure-colored haze. Tom Waits groaned, "Hang on, St. Christopher," as the air started to clear around San Bernardino, and I picked up the old road at Victorville. Suddenly everything changed. The 2-lane road grading up seemed endless. The billboards disappeared. The hollow shells of old tourist attractions, half reclaimed by the desert, looked soft and ancient, ruins of the post-war era. Top down, road bumpy, radio off. Heavenly. I pulled into Barstow and tucked into a.k.a. north of town. Barstow has a fine drive-in, the Skyline. It's a modest 2-screen job set on a plateau overlooking the city, hence the name. On one screen was double-billed Jurassic Park 3 and The Fast and the Furious. It is a drive-in. And on the other, they featured Planet of the Apes and Dr. Dolittle 2. Ugh. In spite of the annoying sequel, happy lineup of summer films, one of the beauties of a drive-in is the double feature. Remember, you're not likely to see a Hanif Kureishi retrospective here. Just a handful of lightweight summer fare, and there's no better way to see it than lounging in a bench seat on a warm night with a beer and your own freshly grilled food in your hand, in the arms of your sweetie. Well, no sweetie for me, bucket seats rather than bench, and I didn't bring a grill. But I did have a cooler full of Pacifico, which goes a long way towards perfection. Next to me, a pickup truck full of young women did indeed pull up, and I could see they were prowling. They pulled out their lawn chairs and cranked up some Dido. On the other side, a little Japanese hot rod pulled up, the kind you see all over Southern California, shining, deep, clear coat red, and growling with throaty exhaust pipes. It was one of those cars that go boom. You know the type. And I was proud of myself for identifying Kid Rock, though his music to me evokes a modern-day Steve Miller and therefore makes me nauseous. The dusk painted the sky over the screen, that deep desert gold to blue, while the rising moon edged everything in my rear view with silver white. Faint stars shone above as both screens lit up at once to the cheers of 100 car horns. I'm hard on summer films because I forget that people watch them simply to be distracted and sort of entertained, and since I can do this watching a ceiling fan, I bristle at paying good money. But the drive-in cures all that. It's an event. It's a common experience, a picnic with the television on. The admission that was only $3, and I saw 4 movies, so I won't complain. And besides, a young woman at the ticket booth looked at me and said, "Cool car," so I had already won the night. Intermission came, and to my delight, so did a very clean copy of the classic Let's Go All Out to the Lobby, the 5-minute intermission film. Y'all remember this? Let's go out to the lobby. Sing with me. Let's go out to the lobby. Let's go out to the lobby and have ourselves a snack. That's it. This 1939 animation, produced by Dave Fleischer of Popeye fame, is old and corny, and I love it, and I watch it all the way through every time. A pair of munchies coaxes odd-looking families into the lobby to revel and worship at the snack counter. A box of popcorn juggles its own contents, drenches itself in butter, then bows. A beverage leads a team of malt cups in a close-order drill over and over again in a bizarre snake dance. And everybody's favorite moment, you'll remember this, a firm hot dog bun compels a well-trained frankfurter to turn somersaults over and over again, and then rewards the obedient wiener by spreading its bread open. The eager dog jumps in, and the pair take a bow. Now, these are images enough to show up in a recent enduring enough to show up in a recent Alien Ant Farm video. This film is now in the Library of Congress National Film Registry, along with Citizen Kane, Apocalypse Now, Sunset Boulevard, the Bugs Bunny cartoon What's Opera Doc, and more than 300 of our nation's most memorable films. It is, for me, what Take Me Out to the Ball Game is for baseball fans. There and then I reached that point of a good journey, that clear moment of the here and now. On my mind's map, I realized, yes, you are here, and that here was a good 2,000 miles from home, on the edge of the Great Mojave, in the broiling evening of a clear desert air, among summer movie lovers now packing both screens, drinking cold Mexican beer, and watching a hot dog somersault into a welcoming bun. And that's part of my trip through the desert there.